Everybody, it's Leroy from Leroy Gaming, and in today's Baldur's Gate 3 guide, we're going to be looking at the War Domain subclass for the Cleric. Within this guide, we're going to cover the recommended stats and all the information you need to know for the Cleric at level 1, as well as all the information that's unique to the War Domain. We will also cover full level 2 to 12 progression, including all spells that you get access to as you level up. Towards the end of the video, I will go over some general equipment recommendations, and I will also provide you my thoughts on multiclassing as the Cleric. As always, you can use the timestamps below to jump to an area that most interests you. Remember to drop a like and comment below with thoughts, feedbacks, and questions. And now, without further ado, let's go and check out the War Domain Cleric. Alright guys, the first thing we need to know about the Cleric is its primary ability is Wisdom that it's going to be using for spell casting. She starts with saving throw proficiencies in Wisdom and Charisma, and her hit die is 1d8. The base Cleric starts with all simple weapon, light armor, medium armor, and shield proficiency. However, the War Domain is going to add all martial weapons and heavy armor proficiency as well. So this is basically the ultimate battle cleric that can wear any type of armor, shields, and weapon, which is pretty cool. Also, you gain War Priest, Divine Favor, and Shield of Faith as features for this subclass. As we see here, the two spells that are going to be provided for you all the time are going to be Divine Favor and Shield of Faith. And Shield of Faith is very, very powerful, adding 2 AC. Do note it's a concentration spell, so if you get hit, there's a chance that this can be disrupted. I'll be talking about in this guide how to minimize the chance of you losing concentration. And your subclass feature is really cool. As a War Priest, when you make an unarmed or weapon attack, you can spend a War Priest charge to make an additional attack as a bonus action. You can start doing this at level 1. So she is, I believe, the only class that can do multiple attacks per round starting at level 1, and you start with 3 of these charges. Now you're also going to get to pick 3 cantrips. The most important one is Guidance, used for conversation checks and any other pretty much checks, from lockpicking to opening doors, etc. So definitely get that one, and I'll mouse over the other ones. Thaumaturgy is pretty cool, but you cannot have both Guidance and this one active at the same time, I don't believe. Or actually, you would have to activate it early if you wanted to have both benefits during a conversation check, which I think a lot of people may not do, but that's a decent one. And here are the other ones that you could potentially add. Feel free to pause the video if you want to read the details. Now, the War Domain Cleric is really built to be a battle cleric. So from day 1, so I actually like starting with 16 strength, so she can start hitting quite effectively. You can keep dexterity at 10 because you're going to be wearing heavy armor. Constitution at 15. You can dump intelligence down to 8. Wisdom at 16. And again, charisma at 8. Now level 2, you're going to gain 1 level 1 spell slot. And you're also going to get channel divinity charges starting with 1. And you gain the ability to channel divine energy starting with 2 effects. Turn Undead, and you're going to get an effect determined by your domain. This gets replenished by short or long rests. And in this case, you of course have Turn Undead. This is what it does. And then you get Guided Strike. So basically, you can use Channel Divinity to get a +10 bonus to your attack roll. And the game will actually notify you if you're about to miss, and can use this to utilize one of your guided strikes to make sure that you hit. So it's a nice little fail-safe for the few times you get to channel divinity. Now, the way that the spells work for Clerics is a little different than some of the other classes. So you're going to have all of these spells that you can choose from, and at any time you can actually swap them out, but you can only have 5 prepared spells at any given time. This is going to slowly raise up as you level up, pretty much 1 per level roughly, but you're going to get more and more spells as you get level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth spells. So you're just going to have to be picky on what you want to select. Do note you're always going to have that Divine Shield, for example, that we saw at level 1, that's going to be always active, and you don't have to select them here manually. That's why you don't see it on the list. Now here's the full list of spells. Sanctuary is amazing. You can cast on somebody if they're about to die, or you just raise them and they only have a few hit points. As long as they don't do anything aggressive, they can't take damage except for like AoE damage. Bless is also very powerful, but it is a concentration effect. So I mean, adding 1 to 4 to hit and saving throws for up to 3 people is really good. Cure Wounds you can't go wrong with, and Heal Wounds. Do note, Cure Wounds is an action. Healing Word is bonus action. So in theory, you could cast both of these in the same round to maximize healing. And Healing Word is also ranged at 18 meters as opposed to Cure Wounds is in melee. So Healing Word is a great way to pop somebody up who's just been knocked down and they're dying. You cast this on them and they're going to pop up right away. So that's really effective. Guiding Bolt is your one kind of ranged offensive spell. Alright, at level 3 you're going to get 1 more level 1 spell slot. And then you're going to get 2 level 2 spell slots. Now you're going to get access to Magic Weapon. And you're going to consistently have access also to Spiritual Weapon. This is something that let you summon kind of like a pet. You get to control it. And you also, in theory, could have multiple of these out if you had the spell slots. Here are the other spells that you get access to. Enhance ability is real nice. It is a concentration spell, but if you're going to be doing a lot of checks, like I said, for conversations, you can pick Charisma, for example, to get advantage on all those rolls, or you can pick any of the other skills to do similarly. So this can be very helpful. Hold Person is quite powerful as well. Prayer of Healing is really good. It's a big AoE heal, but do note that you can only cast it outside of combat. Protection from Poison, love this one. There's a lot of poison areas in this game, unfortunately. But notice this is not a concentration spell. You cast this, you're going to get saving throws against being poisoned and resistance to poison damage. So this can be very effective. And then Warding Bond, I've always been a big fan of this. You cast another ally, notice it's not concentration, it stays on until you disable it or until you long rest. The ally you target gets resistance to all damage and +1 bonus to armor class and saving throws. But there is a catch. Resistance makes you take half damage. Well, the other half damage you don't take, you would take as the cleric. The downside to this is when you take that damage, it could knock off one of your concentrations if you don't pass a concentration check. So that's the one big downside to this. And here's the interface that I mentioned. You now have 6 spells you can prepare, but again, you have to pick them across all of the levels, and it's very easy to swap out. You can do this at any time from your inventory little section as well. At level 4, you're going to get to pick another cantrip. You already got to pick 3 rather, so you probably have all the ones you need, but you get to have one anyway. You can prepare now 7 spells, but across the same spells, and most importantly, you get to pick your first feat. Now, while improving ability scores is always going to be strong here, I do want to point out the extreme importance of concentration spells. We've already mentioned a couple that are really good, but getting this so that you don't get interrupted is very, very important. Unless you multi-class into a martial class that has Constitution as a proficiency, I highly recommend you pick up Resilient and select Constitution. This will not only bump up your Constitution from 15 to 16, but now you're going to have proficiency in that. So that's step 1 to not getting interrupted when you're concentrating on spells. And then the other one that's going to be really important is going to be Warcaster. So you get advantage on saving throws to maintain concentration. You also get to use a reaction to use Shocking Grasp when you react to an enemy moving away, but that's less important than I think the advantage in concentration checks. Those two, if you combine the two, the likelihood that you lose concentration on spells goes way, way lower. So my personal recommendation is to pick both these up, either 4 or 8, for example, and then afterwards you can always go and improve your ability points further to get your wisdom to 18, for example. At level 5, you're going to gain 2 level 3 spell slots. And you also get your Turn Undead. It gets improved to Destroy Undead. When you successfully turn an undead creature, it also takes 4 to 24 radiant damage. We're unlocking a bunch of level 3 spells, and your special domain spells are going to be Spirit Guardian, which is super powerful. Do note, when you cast this, it is a concentration spell. It's an aura that's 3 meters around you. You get to pick either radiant damage or necrotic damage. And what it does is, if enemies move into that circle, or you move into the area of an enemy, they're automatically going to take that damage. So you could literally, what I do a lot of times is I'll just run around and I'll have that aura just touch the enemies within even getting into melee range, and they'll just pop like popcorn. Especially versus undead, when you use radiant damage, it is absolutely amazing. Again, you just want to make sure that you keep concentration on the spell. As you level up, you will also be able to upscale this to do more damage if you cast it as a level 4 or 5 spell, for example. So very amazing spell. My favorite concentration spell for the Cleric. And then you have Crusader's Mantle, also one that you're going to have always prepared. Now here are the other spells that you could potentially cast. And then again, feel free to pause to look at the details. And again, now you can prepare 8 spells, but I have to spread them across your level 1, 2, and 3 spells as well. Alright, at level 6, you're going to gain 1 level 3 spell slot, and you're going to get another charge of your Channel Divinity. And you're going to get the Channel Divinity War God's Blessing. So you endow a nearby ally with the glory of your god to grant them a +10 bonus to their attack roll. So this is the same as the effect that you have for yourself, but you can do it for other people. Remember, you don't have that many Channel Divinity charges, but this can change for somebody from missing to hitting, and it will be a reaction. So if they're about to miss, the game will pause, and you can choose to use one of your charges to give them +10 to their attack roll. And again, now you can prepare 9 spells from all the ones you know. At level 7, you're going to get 1 level 4 spell slot. The level 4 spells that are always prepared are going to be Stone Skin and Freedom of Movement. And here are the other ones you could potentially pick. And here you'll see now you have up to 10 spells that you can prepare. But again, the list gets bigger and bigger of what you're choosing from. At level 8, you're going to get 1 more level 4 spell slot. And you're going to gain Divine Strike War Master. So this is an action, which is basically your weapon damage plus 1d8 slashing. And it says once per turn you deal 1 to 8 additional damage to your melee attack. So you can use this once per turn to just beef up your melee attacks. You can now prepare 11 spells out of all of these at any given time. And of course you can pick a second feat now. My recommendation again would be Warcaster or your stats. At level 9 you get 1 level 4 4th level spell slot. We also get 1 level 5 spell slot as well. The level 5 spell slots that you'll always have available is going to be Flame Strike, pretty potent, and Hold Monster. And here are the other options that you get to choose from. Mask Cure Wound, quite effective. And again, you now get to pick and prepare 12 spells at a time. At level 10, you're going to get another level 5 spell slot. You're going to get Divine Intervention. Invokes your God's Aid. Once used, this can never be used again. I'm going to show those in just a second. There's numerous options. They're not all created equal. Some are amazing, some are horrible. So I'll show those in a moment. You also get another cantrip in case you did want one of these. And now you can prepare 13 spells total across the 5 levels of spells. Now here are the options for Divine Intervention. Golden Generosity. You call upon your deity to provide you with a rich bounty of potions and camp supplies. This is horrible. Don't get this. You're going to be overflowing with camp supplies, and just getting some potions isn't worth it. Divine Intervention, Sunder the Heretics. This is a huge AoE. Let me show you the range on it. So if you see that, it's going to go in a huge circle that far out. So it basically nukes a giant battlefield. It's a real good kind of nuclear option. Then we have Opulent Revival. Resurrects fallen companions with half their hit points and restore all nearby allies as if they had long rested. This is important because they'll get all their spell slots back, etc. So this could be, if you're in a very difficult battle and you're running out of resources, a real good kind of reset. And then Armed Thy Servant. Call upon your deity to grant you a legendary weapon forged in the fires of your holy bond. And I'll show that to you right now as an example so you can see what the weapon is. Real cool spell animation. Here it is. And it's called the Devoted Mace. It will auto-equip. So it's a +3 mace. It does its base damage plus 1d8 radiant. And it does have this effect here, healing Incense Aura. You activate it as a bonus action. It lasts for 10 turns. And it emanates a soothing aura. You and nearby allies regain 1 to 4 hit points at the start of your turn. So do note that, again, this does not require concentration. You and everybody around you, depending on the roll, over 10 rounds will heal between 10 and 40 healing. So it's not a bad mace. At level 11, you're going to gain 1 level 6 spell slot. And here are the spells you can choose from. Heal is very potent heal. And then Planar Ally, there's 3 different allies you're going to be able to summon. I'll show those to you in just a moment. And now you can pick a total of 14 spells across all of these levels. Here's the Planar Ally Diva. Her abilities are Wrathful Smite, Revivify, and Concussive Smash. And here's what she looks like. Oh, or I guess it's a he. A lot of health, 136. Here's a stat block, very tanky, lots of AC. And there's your final option, the Jin. And its abilities are Sweet Plum Gales, Thunderwave, and Drunken Inhale. Here's how it looks. It's basically a genie. He has the most health of all of them at 161. Here's the stat block. Very, very tough. And then at level 12, you're now going to be able to prepare up to 12 spells. And you're going to get your final feat. So pick whatever you want, probably an ability score at this point. Now, talking equipment, this is, again, the purest of the battle cleric options for the cleric. So you're going to want to have really heavy armor. There's so many good sets of heavy plate out there. You can go a couple of different ways. When I play with my Shadowheart, I like playing her as a battle cleric, but I also like to buff some of her healing abilities. So I got the Wapira's Crown, When healing another, the wearer gains 1 to 6 health. I also like Boots of Aid and Comfort. When the wearer heals the target, it gains an additional 3 temporary hit points. But again, there's lots of different sets of armor that you can get that will just buff your damage potential as well, so feel free to do that. When it comes to your jewelry, it's going to be a little situational. You can get extra spells, extra spell slot. Like I like this Spellcrux Amulet, lets you restore any spell slot. I do that so I can get an extra level 6 spell slot at any given time. So again, you give lots of flexibility here, but make sure to get the best shield you can get, depending on AC and different effects, and then get the best possible weapon. There's again lots of different weapons that can work for you. You can summon the legendary mace I mentioned. You can also, if you finish a Shadow Heart's story, there's different versions of her spear you can get, I believe. Here's the one that I got. So lots of options, but just, treat her like a martial character for the most part, for equipment plus support for your casting. Now, when it comes to multi-classing with the War Domain Cleric, you can very easily just get one level of Battle Cleric, and that's going to basically give you her casting ability while also having heavy armor, shield, all martial weapons, etc. So very similar to a fighter or a paladin. So if you like the special effects of the cleric, you could do a tiny dip on her. Clerics, I will say in general, you can very effectively just solo class them because they have such powerful effects all the way up to a level 11. Really powerful spells and the late game summons as well. So yes, you can definitely multi-class. You can multi-class like with a bard to get more diversity, plus bardic inspiration if you want. So there are multi-class options, but if you just want to keep it simple and stay with the cleric, you will not be weak. Very, very potent class overall. Alright guys, so that brings us to the end of the War Domain Subclass video for the Cleric. I hope you found it helpful. Again, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to drop a like. Drop comments of any questions, comments, or let me know what class you want me to cover next in future videos after I finish the subclasses here for the Cleric, or simply let me know which subclass you'd like to see next as well. Of course, if you want to see more content from me, make sure to subscribe. Greatly appreciate all your support, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.